Republican Senator Mitt Romney is not someone that I go to when I need advice about anything. He's not someone that I agree with on policy almost ever, except for maybe some completely uncontroversial small things. But he has done one thing right during the last couple of years, which is for the most part, he just tells things as they are, even when they are about the Republican Party. And Mitt Romney predicted yesterday that Donald Trump would easily win the 2024 Republican presidential nomination if indeed he tries to win it in 2024. And this coincides exactly with what the polling has indicated that we've looked at over the last month, which is that at least for now, and things can change between now and 2022, between 2022 and 2024. But for now, the vast majority of the Republican Party is behind Donald Trump, and the 2024 nomination is his for the taking if indeed he wants it. Mitt Romney said that he is, quote, sure that Trump will at least play a role in the Republican Party in the coming years, pointing out that he is by far the largest voice and a big impact in the party, and that, quote, I expect he will continue playing a role. I don't know if he'll run in 2024 or not, but if he does, I'm pretty sure he will win the nomination. Romney did point out, as we've been pointing out, that things can change between now and 2024, but that for the time being, quote, I look at the polls and the polls show that among the names being floated as potential contenders in 2024, if you put President Trump in there among Republicans, he wins in a landslide. I think that that is absolutely and completely correct. And unless something changes, if Trump wants it, the nomination is likely to be his in 2024. Now, what is it that could change? And I think this is the most important thing to think about. Well, a couple different things could change. Number one, Trump could change things by starting his own party. And we've talked about this before. For now, Trump has such a following within the Republican Party that if he were to say, I'm leaving the party and starting my own, 64% of Republicans say they would leave with him. Now, I don't believe 64% actually would. I think when it came down to it, particularly if a year has gone by, if 2 years have gone by, there's a serious likelihood that some of that 64% would say, you know, I'm kind of over Trump. I'm actually going to stay. But even if it's 20% or 30% or 40% of the Republican Party that does leave if Trump starts his own party, that could spell absolute and total disaster for the Republican Party. And it would also mean that the Republican nominee would not be Trump because Trump would be the nominee of whatever party he starts. That's something that could change. The other thing that could change is that all of this energy around Trump, much of it fomented by his claims for 2 months after the election that Joe Biden stole it and that he actually won, subsequently by continuing to claim and being supported in his claims by Newsmax and OAN and to some degree Fox News, that he has this strategy or that strategy to try to get the election back. That generated a lot of excitement and a lot of interest and a lot of energy. If that simply dissipates with Trump out of the spotlight, then you could also see the party go in a different direction that maybe would not choose Trump as its 2024 nominee. And then also, I think that this will sort of be a feedback loop. But if Trump sort of fades away a little bit over the next 18 months, it's quite possible that many of the Trumpian elected officials that came to power only because of their affiliation with Trumpism, I'm thinking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Madison Cawthorn, and there are others, but those are sort of the big three. The Trumpy elected officials may get absolutely destroyed in their 2022 reelection campaigns. I already saw some early data and statements out of Marjorie Taylor Greene's district in Georgia that suggests it could be a bloodbath for her in November of 2022. It's so long from now. It's very difficult to say for sure. We're, 19 months away or something like that. But if the Trumpy elected officials get crushed in 2022, that may kind of continue this decline of Trumpism within the Republican Party. But Mitt Romney is completely right. As of right now, Donald Trump would easily win the Republican nomination. And, we talk about areas in which Democrats and Republicans are too similar and areas in which Democrats and Republicans couldn't be more different. Donald Trump never could have won a Democratic primary in 2016. Never would have happened. The Democratic electorate simply would not be bamboozled in that way. You can say a lot of things about elected Democrats and a lot of things about the Democratic electorate, but they would never fall for someone like Trump. The Republican electorate not only fell for it in 2016, they continued to support him in 2020 to almost the same degree. He ultimately did lose the presidential election. And so far, they still support him. That is a dramatic difference between the Democratic electorate and the Republican electorate in terms of what they are capable of falling for. And at this point, all we can do is wait. This Sunday, Donald Trump will make his first public speech since leaving office at CPAC. We will be covering it live, and I'm curious to see if and what he says, if anything, about the 2024 election or even 2022. He is expected to talk about his future to some degree within Republican Party politics. So that's, I believe, in the 3 o'clock Eastern hour on Sunday. I'll be live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook covering that.